Welcome to our second session. I hope that all of you are in the best of health. In this session, our topic will be analyzing. Let's begin by looking at the learning outcomes for this video. By the end of this video, you should be able to analyze information, data, and facts through classifications. Analyze data through cause and effect relationships, as well as compare and contrast functions, and analyze facts as evidence. First, let's look at how to analyze through classification. When we classify something, it means that we group them into certain categories. When we categorize things, it makes our analysis of the content easier. We can classify things according to common or the same features they have. A simple example would be animals that are called herbivores. Herbivorous animals are animals that do not eat meat. All those animals that do not eat meat could be classified into the herbivorous animals group. Can you tell me what class of animals are those that eat meat? To make you understand better, we will now look at how classifications work. Classification has a structure. You can classify things generally, classify things from specific to general, or from general to specific. From general to specific, for example, the world may be classified into 5 continents. There are Asia, Americas, Europe, Africa, Oceania. These continents can be further divided into continental countries and island countries. From specific to general, for example, Malaysia, China, and Nepal are continental countries, while Indonesia, Singapore, and Taiwan are island countries. They are all countries in the Asian continent. Next, we shall move on to examine the language patterns used when we want to classify things in the scientific language. In scientific language, usually the passive voice is preferred. In passive voice, the word showing the action is more important than the person who is doing the action. For instance, tin is classified as metal, that is passive voice. And scientists classify tin as metal, that is active voice. Note that the first sentence, which is in passive voice, is preferred in the scientific language. Well, in this section, we shall learn about cause-effect and compare-contrast relationships. There are 2 strategies that can be used to analyze facts and details. They are looking for cause and effect and comparing and contrasting relationships. Have a look at the following example of cause and effect. Continuous heavy rain leads to floods. That is the cause. And the effect. From the example above, we can conclude that floods are caused by continuous heavy rainfall. The next example will show you comparing and contrasting relationships. For example, the world has 2 polar caps, Arctic in the north and Antarctic in the south. However, the northern and southern polar regions are different in many ways. In the example above, the similarity is that both Arctic and Antarctic are polar caps covered with ice. The contrast is that the Arctic is an ice-covered sea almost completely surrounded by land. On the other hand, the Antarctic is a large ice continent surrounded by a huge ocean. We have now come to the end of our topic. Before we finish, I will explain to you about analyzing through evidence. When we read or hear something, we must establish whether what we read or heard is fact or fiction. In simple words, we must look for evidence on whether what we read or heard is true or false. In order to do this, we need to look for evidence by carefully examining what we read or heard. Evidence must be based on facts and not on opinion. Example, the sun rises in the east. This is a fact. It rains on cloudy days. This is an opinion. It may not necessarily rain on cloudy days. evidence is usually introduced by using clue words such as demonstrates and confirms. For example, the observations cited above demonstrate that all animals sleep at one time or another. Another example, the observations cited above confirm that all animals sleep at one time or another. Well, by now you should have a fair idea on this topic. I hope that you would attempt the exercises in order for you to get a better understanding. Practice makes perfect. Good luck.